Local 4 News starts now with a forewarned weather alert.
It's 8 a.m. on Local 4 Live, and it's another messy morning across the Metro Detroit areas. We have a forewarned weather alert because of all this snow that's been falling since overnight. Now, here's a live look at the roads, and our Shante Passmore is out in these snowy streets checking out what it looks like across the metro area. Meanwhile, at Metro Airport, it is currently 20 degrees, but it feels like just 8 outside. And as you can see, the snow obviously causing problems out there. There have been 13 delays and 1 cancellation so far at Metro Airport. We now head up to St. Clair County, where it's 21 degrees in Algonac, but it feels like 7, a not so lucky 7 on a very cold and snowy day. Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to Local 4 Live for this 21st day of January 2026. I'm Jay Scott Smith, and thank you for joining us on this very snowy Wednesday morning. The big story on the big show today is, of course, the weather. So let's say good morning to forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey. And while this isn't like the storm that came in 1 week ago, Ashley, this is still a massive mess across the area.
Right. It really all has to do with the timing here. So this is impacting the morning commute twofold. One is that we're starting to see some accumulation out there, and it only takes very small amounts to accumulate the surface to create slick roads. But then we have the reduced visibility, as you pointed out here with that Metro Airport camera. Typically, we have a crystal clear shot at the terminal, and we can't even see the planes right now. 21 degrees at Metro, 17 in Pontiac, 23 in Grosse Ile, and 19 in Port Huron. Southerly winds are anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles per hour sustained, gusting upward of that. So the southerly flow will bring milder conditions throughout the day. We're already seeing that here with our 24-hour temperature change, but the strength of those winds will make it feel colder. We have a lot of single-digit chills out there, as you just touched on, Jay. So Exact Track 4D, blanket of snow for all of southeastern Michigan from the thumb down to the state line. And we've been following a little bit of banding out there that's a little more intense, and that has lifted north of Waterford, inching closer to I-69. But as we showed you, the Romulus camera at Metro Airport, even though it doesn't look like we have that distinct darker band there, still coming down at a pretty good rate. Winter weather advisory until 1 o'clock this afternoon, meaning this stuff is sticking with us through the morning. It'll be around the lunch hour, just thereafter, that we really start to see it taper off into flurries. 33 for the afternoon high. Hey, that's where we should be this time of year compared to those frigid single digits that we've been stuck in. But guess what? They come back. We have an even colder snap starting Friday through the weekend with wind chills that could reach 20 below zero. We'll have more on that and the snowfall totals and who's getting the most where coming up in just a few minutes.
Certainly not looking forward to that this weekend, but thank you so much, Ashley. Meanwhile, we're getting a live look at those traffic maps, and a lot of yellow, a lot of red on the map. It's slow moving. As anybody who's been on the road the last few hours knows, it's a slow go no matter where you are. We can head out onto those roads right now, and that's where Shante Passmore, as you see, riding live right now. Shante, what are you seeing out there on the roads?
Hey, good morning, Jay and everyone. So right now we're in Mount Clemens traveling southbound on Gratiot Avenue. And this is the point where I say it's getting yucky out here. As you can see on your screens, we saw a light blanket of snow and now it's just kind of sludge, of course, because of the traffic volume increasing throughout the morning rush here. But you can see that it's starting to snick. The visibility, I think that's the other headline that you and Ash had mentioned. That's what we're seeing right now at this hour here in Macomb County right now. It seems like people are kind of heeding, the caution. Obviously, the weather condition changing, so maybe we need to change our driving condition, our driving behavior as well right now. But certainly some slick spots here we're seeing right now. Sending things back over to you, Jay.
Thank you so much, Shante. Now, also, we want to remind you that there are shelters open for people who need them to access anyone, or should I say anyone can access this. Temporary shelters can be accessed by walking in or calling the 24/7 Detroit Housing Resource Helpline. You see the number right there on the screen, 866-313-2520. Plus, we also have a list of warming centers on our website at clickondetroit.com. And today's also a good day to download that free forewarned weather app. It has, as you see right there, a live radar, which can be very useful on a morning such as this. Plus, there are also alerts as well as an hour-by-hour forecast. You can get all of this on the Local 4 weather app. Make sure you download it right now. It's 8:04, and now let's get some of these headlines for this Wednesday morning. And a woman who's been charged with crashing into an Ulta Beauty in Royal Oak has pleaded guilty to operating while intoxicated, fleeing, and assaulting a police officer. 26-year-old Katrina Patterson, who's from Canton, was caught on dash cam video crashing into the Ulta store on 11 Mile and Woodward back in November. Take a look at the video.
collided with the intercept. Trying to keep the car.
There you see that right there, that shocking video. Investigators say that Patterson was found behind the wheel with 4 flat tires and an open container of alcohol. Now, she ran from police before smashing into the store, and Patterson is expected to be sentenced coming up in March. Meanwhile, day 2 of jury selection is about to begin in the trial of the man charged with killing a Detroit neurosurgeon. Desmond Burks has been charged with killing Dr. Devin Hoover back in April of 2023. The killing supposedly motivated over jealousy over their relationship and the doctor's money. Now, on Tuesday, the judge warned over 100 potential jurors not to discuss this case or follow media coverage. Now, 2 potential jurors were dismissed. One was a police officer, and the other was dismissed for talking about being picked for a high-profile case. Jury selection will resume coming up at about 8:30. And we're also waiting on a judge to decide if 4 people are going to stand trial in the deadly hyperbaric chamber explosion at a Troy clinic. The CEO and 3 employees have been charged with 5-year-old Thomas Cooper's death that happened nearly 1 year ago on January 31st, 2025. During preliminary hearings, prosecutors argued the team ignored safety rules and left flammable materials inside the chamber, skipped safety checks, and didn't require grounding straps.
So we know that back then Ms. Peterson knew what the rules were, and at least then she was following them. But at some point, Judge, it sounds like in around 2017, Ms. Peterson decided she did not want to follow those rules anymore.
At this time, are you ready to
The judge is going to review evidence and testimony to decide if the case will move to a higher court for trial. And one of those defendants is CEO Tamala Patterson. She's been charged with health care fraud. She's accused of benefiting from the false claims at the Oxford Center locations in Troy and Brighton and bills for services that did not happen. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel says that investigation actually began back in 2022. And here's a live look. Well, you just believe us here. It's actually in there. There is an actual casino out there right now in downtown Detroit. Just can't see it because of all of the snow. And as we talk about this eye-opening new study on legal gambling and sports, and if you or someone you know bets on sports, it tends to come with a hidden public safety cost. New research from the University of Michigan finds there is a measurable rise in violent and impulsive crime on game days. And researchers from the University of Michigan as well as Rice University analyzed data from 2017 to 2021. They found that states with legal betting saw significant increases in assaults, break-ins, car thefts, all during and after big games. And crime rose when the game's outcome was unexpected, in such instances, say, as the underdog wins. Now, Michigan legalized both in-person and online betting years ago. And to talk more about this study, we're joined by Hua Gong, an assistant professor of sports analytics at Rice University, who is also one of the people who worked on this study. Now, it's good to have you on here this morning. One of the things you noted in the study is it seems to be it drives an increase in crime when it comes to betting is because the actual game itself. Could you go into more detail on that?
Sure. So we look at what kind of factors is really driving those kind of crime behavior among the bettors. And what we find is that there are actually 2 major driving factors. One is, the financial losses attached to the sports betting. When people lose their bets or people get overexcited, they can potentially commit some crime because of that. The other factor we look at was the stress that associated with the betting. So even though those bettors are not losing bets, but because of, for example, very tied or close games, and they worried about their betting outcomes, and when bettors experience those kind of stressful games, they can also lead to some kind of irrational behavior, aggressive behavior, and ultimately that may lead to some increase in crime.
And it was even noted in the study that crime increases 30 to 70% from the start of a game through 4 hours after its conclusion. And that's, of course, in states that have legalized betting. There's 38 states plus Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. that have legalized it. And you also noted it does increase when it comes to tie games and unexpected outcomes. So I guess another thing that was pointed out here is just that you see assaults jump up about 93% as well after all this. What are some of the other things that are driving this? Because it's not just simply the monetary aspect. It really is the results-based part of this that can really drive up this crime.
Yes. So we look at different kinds of crimes that associate with potentially sports betting. So one of the crime we particularly look at is the assault, for example, some like domestic violence or like a bar brawl. Or we also look at other categories of crime, such as destruction of property, vehicle theft, larceny, those kind of things. And we noticed that on game days and after states legalize their sports betting, the number of assault incidences has particularly higher number of increases relative to other categories of crime. So I think this is kind of surprising, not surprising, because we understand that the sports fans are very emotional, and when they allow to bet on sports, the game outcomes matter even more. So then that can trigger some kind of aggressive behavior and ultimately lead to some more assault cases.
And we do often, even in the last few years, started to hear about that from athletes, both pro and college athletes, how they have become the targets of threats from bettors because of performances and performances in games, wins, losses, results. They get a lot of angry messages, especially on social media. I want to thank you so much for joining us today, for telling us more about this really informative study about the dangers people wouldn't expect of sports betting.
Thank you, Jay.
Now, we're also helping to raise little readers here on Local 4. In fact, here's a live look at our Go For It event that's happening right now in Southfield. Priya Mann joins us in just a few minutes to take a look at how you can help young readers when Local 4 Live returns. And welcome back to Local 4 Live, and it is indeed time to go for it today as we're collecting new books for kids all the way up to the age of 5 for our Raising Readers campaign. That's right, Local 4 is teaming up with Reach Out and Read Michigan. And right now, until 6 p.m., our team's going to be out at the Southfield Library that's just off of Evergreen. So let's head out there now where Priya Mann is live, and she is at the Southfield Library. Priya, it looks like this is just a wonderful event to help kids out no matter where they're coming from.
And Jay, I know you and I are both bookworms. We were bookworms when we were kids, and we love to read now. And this is what today is all about, inspiring our little ones to love to read. I'm joined by Elisa. Did I get it right? Because I've been practicing. Yes. And you are a volunteer. This is such a cause that's so near and dear to your heart. You're taking time out to help out. Why is that?
You know, we always have to support the youngest readers. And when I heard about this program through a friend of mine, I just had to jump in to connect the community with clinics and doctors and parents and kids to get books in their hands, to start them reading, you know, right when they're learning how to talk is so important.
And what's the impact that you've seen firsthand?
Firsthand, I've done a lot of work with Scholastic. That's dear to my heart, and book fairs has been in my background.
Love book fairs.
And just the groups of people that I have met that support literacy
Right.
are just some amazing people.
And it makes such a difference. And for some families, this might be a great way for them to add to their library. Or sometimes it might be the only books that they have in their library at home.
Exactly. Access is the most important thing for literacy. You have to have access to great books, and you have to have people to share them with.
And that's what this event is all about, right? Because we've got volunteers who are going to be here through 6 p.m. today. We are collecting donations, kind of like the brand new book you see here. What do you got here?
How do dinosaurs say I love you?
Well, we're going to have to read it to find out how they say I love you. Again, we are collecting new books, and this is for children from birth to 5 years old. Those are really formative years, really important years to kind of inspire them to read and to create those lifelong habits. And you can come to the Southfield Public Library. We are here all day. If you can't make it here, there's also a QR code that's on your screen. You can scan that. We're taking monetary donations. And then on that website, you can also find some recommended books in case you'd like to buy some and bring them over. But again, we are collecting brand new books. How excited are you for a day like today?
It's awesome. You know, don't let the snow slow you down.
That's right.
I made it here, so come on
So you
out.
can too, and just drive slow though. Drive slow. We're going to be here through 6 p.m. today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Jay, I know we'll see you out here later today too. It's going to be a great day.
It is going to be a great day out there, and as mentioned, there is a way to be able to donate. If you can't go out there and brave that snowy roads, all you have to do is clickondetroit.com. Mother Nature is not being very friendly to us, as we have seen all over the area. Let's go to Mount Brighton, where the snow is coming down heavy right now. Ashley will be back to track the snow and the bitter cold temperatures. They're going to be here just in time for the weekend. You're watching Local 4 Live. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, and we're getting a live look at the roads this morning. This is Gratiot in Roseville, out in Macomb County. The snow has been coming down all morning long. Really, it started in the overnight, and it's made for some pretty rough driving conditions all day long. Let's go over to forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey. And Ashley, we already knew that we had the snow coming in, and we've got this happening all day long, but this is just the start of the fun, because on the other side of this, we're going to go right back into the bitter cold again.
I know, the snow, not fun for folks that have to drive in it this morning, as you are well aware. I mean, that accumulating snow, creating slick roads and reduced visibility, and that's why we have the alert. However, we do want to look at the silver lining for today, this afternoon. Kids can get out and sled and play in this, because this is the only window. It's going to get so cold on the back edge of it. So you can see the tale of two stories here with the fronts that we are tracking. The first one, that warm front already lifted north of here, so we will have milder air. It's not going to be warm by any means, but as we get to the freezing mark, that's certainly improvement from the last several days where we were in the teens. This is seasonal, where we should be at this point in January. But then we have that trailing cold front attached to the low, and that will bring another very Arctic cold air mass to the region. But sandwiched in between is the milder air and the snow showers that we are contending with. So putting live exact track 4D on, you can scour the map here and you just see blue everywhere. It's like a blanket over southeast Michigan. So that snow coming down. And if you look at some of the deeper shades of blue, which a little harder to see, but there is just a bit of banding in there where the intensity is a bit stronger. But you can see just underneath me with those cameras, I mean, visibility has been reduced across the metro area. So you're dealing with the visibility issue, and then you're dealing with snow cover on the roads. And so this is our road condition map with our ExactTrack 4D technology. And other than up towards Sandusky, you're likely encountering some snow stuck to the surface. And at least salt will be a little more effective today with these temperatures, but crews have to get ahead of this, which is hard because now we're in the peak of the morning rush hour drive and they're going to be stuck in all of the same crowds on the roads and streets that you are stuck in. So winter weather advisory until 1 o'clock this afternoon for all of Southeast Michigan. And really, it'll be right around that time that we start to see things taper off. But when it's all kind of said and done, by the end of the day, we are going to have about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall as far as the fresh accumulation at the surface. Temperatures are on either side of 20 right now. And as we look at wind chill readings, there are still quite a few single digits out there. Feeling like 10 though in Ann Arbor, but those single digit wind chill readings sticking with us because winds are just going to get stronger as the day rolls on. Hour by hour look at the snow. So here's a little snapshot into the mid-afternoon where we still have a little snow hanging around, but certainly not as widespread as what we have on tap through the morning. And then as we head in the overnight and tomorrow, well, I think we'll have more scattered snow showers in the forecast. That will lead to some minor accumulation, but really the bulk of what's going to fall will be this morning. Friday should trend a bit drier, but then we're getting sharply colder. So 1 to 3 inches on tap today with highs right around the freezing mark. We'll have mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon. We're tracking the cold though. So what's up here to the north will start to sink just a little farther south tomorrow, but takes a nosedive into the Gulf states and Texas by Friday. That will result in some tricky travel if you are traveling down south for the weekend. So for today, we're on the colder sector of the system. We deal with the snow, but the rain and snow pushes east tomorrow. Somewhat of a quieter day, but by Friday, as that colder air kind of injects into the south, well, now we're going to see more of a wintry precip develop. So between rain and snow mixing together, or even some freezing rain, they're not equipped down south to handle the road conditions like we are here. So that could be very tricky. But yes, we do shift our attention to the cold. Friday and Saturday, highs only in the single digits, and then those overnight lows are sub-zero, and the wind chill readings are anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below zero. Let's get a shot of Jay's face, you guys, because I think that's how we're all feeling right now. It's like a huge insult, right?
That's the air temperature.
That's the air temp. That's not even the wind chill.
That's the air temperature. So -9 coming in here Friday morning.
Will feel like 20 below zero.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And then if you are, for folks that could be watching us in the UP, since we're streaming right now, probably 35 below zero in the wind chill for them.
That is astonishing. So that is, I mean, we laugh about the cold and everything. Just see that, just that there on the screen, that -9, you have to basically cover up. There is no just, oh, I can go without the gloves.
Exactly.
I can take it easy. Some kids like to wear shorts for whatever reason and anything.
No, you want to hibernate in those kind of conditions. And luckily it falls in the weekend. I mean, we'll get clipped with a little bit Friday, but that'll be the weekend. So kids aren't standing at the bus stop. But, when we say dangerous cold, I mean, we're not being, we're not over exaggerating here. That is dangerous cold. Hypothermia, all of that would be, an extreme risk come this weekend.
You don't play around when you see, sub-zero temperatures like that. Ashley, thank you so much. We're going to be obviously keeping an eye on that throughout the rest of the show here. And we'll be back in a minute with a Local 4 update. And then coming up in the next hour here on Local 4 Live, people living in one East Side community are cleaning up after the extreme cold did some major damage. That's ahead when we return at the bottom of the hour on Local 4 Live. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Jay Scott Smith with a Local 4 update. We're following a developing story in Warren. A 3-year-old is recovering after shooting themselves at an apartment complex on 10 Mile and Hoover last night. Police say the toddler is expected to be okay, but we have no details on how the kid got the gun or who the gun belongs to. Now, we have another 90 minutes of Local 4 Live over on Local 4 Plus, and kids pick up new words every day, including some, surprising ones. We'll share what parents are saying about kids swearing. Plus, we're looking into the controversy over data centers. What are they, and why are there so many popping up around Metro Detroit? Plus, we're also 2 weeks out from the Winter Olympic Games. We're meeting one Metro Detroiter who is packing her bags for Milan. Ashley Barrissey is going to be back with a look at your forecast in just a few minutes here on Local 4.
Local 4 News starts now with a forewarned weather alert.
8:30 here on Local 4 Live, and we have indeed issued a forewarned weather alert because you see it right there. All the snow that's coming down across the area that's been impacting commutes since it started during the overnight hours. You're looking live at downtown Detroit where it is 21 degrees, currently feels like 8 degrees. Over to Macomb County, over in Mount Clemens, it's also made it into the 20s, 22 degrees. The thing is, it feels like 7. How about our friends in Oakland County? Let's go over to Mount Holly, where it's a pretty good day to hit the slopes. Hasn't made it to 20 yet. 17 degrees, and it feels like 5. All those temperatures are going to feel warm by the time we get to this weekend. Welcome back to Local 4 Live on this Wednesday morning. Jay Scott Smith here. We want to bring you forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey. Right off the top, as the big story is all the weather here. And Ashley, it is just, the snow has made for some pretty interesting driving around here, and it's really kind of setting up what's going to be an even colder weekend.
Yeah, the snow we're picking up will not be going anywhere anytime soon because we don't have any melting in the future. Right now, as we take a live look at Metro Airport, you can't even see the terminal. And this has been pretty consistent over the last couple of hours. We've had a break here and there, but overall visibility has been reduced around Wayne County and some of the outlying suburbs because of the steady snowfall. 21 degrees at Metro, which is huge improvement from yesterday, but 17 in Pontiac, 23 in Grosse Ile, 21 in Port Huron. You pair that with southerly winds that are sustained upward of 20 miles per hour in some spots, and those wind chill readings are in the single digits. But it's really not the cold this morning that's the headline. I mean, don't get me wrong, single digit wind chills are cold, but we've had worse and we will have worse in the days ahead. It's the snow that we are picking up on Exact Track 4D, the steady snowfall draping all of southeastern Michigan, leading to slick roadways and reduced visibility. So it does seem like it's coming down maybe at a little bit of a better rate down into Monroe right now with the banding that's been occurring, but winter weather advisory for our entire area until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And that'll be about the time then we start to see that snow tapering off, turning cloudy in the afternoon with maybe a kind of scattered flurry here and there. 33 for the afternoon high. That's where we should be for this time of year. And it might feel a bit balmy compared to the teens that we've been topping out in. But 1 to 3 inches of accumulation are on tap for this snowmaker today. This warm up that we have in that seasonal category, it's brief. We're around freezing this afternoon, and then we fall about 10 degrees tomorrow and an even bigger drop going into the weekend. Wind chill readings from Friday morning through Sunday morning will be anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below zero with the wind chill. So we'll also break down how long that Arctic blast sticks around in your full forecast.
Thank you so much, Ashley. And here's a live look at those traffic maps. You see right now lots of red and yellow on the roads. If you were on the roads at any point this morning, you totally understand. You see that 65 minutes right there. It took about an hour just to get here from Southfield, so you have to be very careful on those roads. In fact, we can get on the roads right now because that's where we find our Shantae Passmore. She has been on that live drive all morning long, checking out all the different snow conditions really that are happening out there. Shantae, where are you right now and what are you seeing?
Oh gosh, Jay, it's still messy out here. We're still traveling southbound on Gratiot. This time we are in the Motor City. We just got into Detroit. We're about to approach Connor Street. We look at your screens. I mean, check out the visibility. It's even dropped more so since the last 30 minutes we spoke or so. It's maybe about a third of a mile. Also, it's not exactly snow cover lanes, but we are starting to see that mixture of the slush, especially kicking up behind people's tires. Of course, you're going to want to increase your following distance even more so than you normally do and give yourself ample amount of time to come to a complete stop right now. But this is what we're contending with. Of course, reduced visibility. We're dealing with some slick spots as well. People seem to be doing, I think because we've just had so many rounds of snow this winter season, people seem to be doing the speed limit. We haven't seen anyone driving too dangerously. Of course, there's always a few people who do that, but it seems like people are really minding the weather pattern here, and so they're adjusting their driving behavior as they need to. Reporting live in Detroit this morning, Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
Totally understand you've seen a lot of this snow. Everybody's a little bit more frustrated dealing with it. Trust me, thank you so much for doing such a great job out there, Shantae. People living in Grosse Pointe Park, by the way, they're cleaning up after the extreme cold caused water pipes to break, the pressure bust pipes indeed. And you're looking at the video of the mess that water main break left along Bedford, that's east of Jefferson. And one resident told us for the second time, and it's happened for the second time in 5 years, they woke up to water pouring into their basement.
And I turned on the sink and there was just a trickle coming out. And I'm like, oh, there's a frozen pipe.
I mean, enough is enough, honestly. Nobody wants to wake up to that, especially on the cold morning like we had this morning.
Now, the crews did make repairs and restored the water, but a lot of families are still dealing with the damage. And obviously, they've had to go stay someplace else. And just a reminder, there are warming centers open for people who are in need. Anyone can access the temporary shelters by walking in or giving a call to the 24/7 Detroit Housing Resource Helpline. That's the number right there on your screen, 866-313-2520. Now, we have a list of warming centers as well over on our website at clickondetroit.com. And today is also a good day to download that Forewarn weather app. The live radar could be very useful on days like this, as well as the alerts and the hour-by-hour forecast, because on the backside of this, it's going to get a whole lot colder. You can get all of this on your Local 4 weather app. Of course, it is free. Now let's get to some of your headlines here at the bottom of the hour at 8:35. Police in Warren are trying to figure out how a 3-year-old got a hold of a gun and accidentally shot themselves. Now, it happened at an apartment complex over on 10 Mile in Hoover. Thankfully, the toddler is expected to be okay. Now, we'll get you more details when we get any new information here, of course, on Local 4, as well as on clickondetroit.com. And thousands of Detroiters can get free tax help as Mayor Mary Sheffield says the city is partnering with the United Way, Accounting Aid Society, and Wayne Metro to offer no-cost tax preparation. Now, the service is free for anyone making less than $69,000 a year. The city sent text messages to 70,000 households alerting them about the free service.
You want every single resident that qualifies to make sure that they get the support that they need to receive those 2 credits. Tax returns are often a lifesaver for many Detroit families. They allow residents to get access to funds to put money down for a car or be able to pay off debt that they oftentimes may have.
Now, you can schedule an appointment by calling 211 or going to getthethaxfacts.org. And in Lansing, the state Senate is expected to discuss a bill to limit cell phone usage in classrooms. The House passed the bill 1 week ago, and it would require K-12 public and charter schools to create policies for cell phone use during class. Now, students could still use them between classes and at lunch, and there would also be exceptions for medical needs. If the state Senate approves it, the bill would then go to Governor Gretchen Whitmer for her signature. And speaking of the governor, she is currently heading to Switzerland, which you are looking live at right now. That's going to be the home of the World Economic Forum in Davos. Now, she will meet with global leaders along with investors, as well as take part in panels on electric vehicles and U.S. economic growth, with the goal being to bring advanced manufacturing, defense, and high-tech investments back here to the state of Michigan. And staying out there in Davos, the president is also expected to arrive there today. Donald Trump is expected to face European leaders who have been angered by his push to take control of Greenland. Here's NBC News' Alice Barr.
Hi there. President Trump joins the World Economic Forum in progress, and in speeches so far, including from close allies France and Canada, we've seen pushback against the president's plans for Greenland. President Trump today addressing the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, arriving behind schedule after a minor electrical issue with Air Force One. The president heading into diplomatic turbulence over his push to take control of Greenland, a strategically important Danish territory that he argues is too vulnerable to threats from China and Russia.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
Many European leaders will be in Davos as they weigh countermeasures to President Trump's threatened tariffs on Denmark and 7 other allies that oppose his efforts to buy Greenland.
We have no interest in picking a fight, but we will hold our ground.
Among the European Union's tools to respond, what's known as the trade bazooka that could ban U.S. goods from European markets. President Trump saying in a new interview he would match any EU actions.
And it's going to go ricocheting backward, but we're not looking at that. We'll probably be able to work something out.
A trade war with the European Union, America's largest trading bloc, would have wide-ranging economic effects and likely price increases here at home when Americans are already feeling the pinch. All as the president defended the state of the economy 1 year into his second term.
Gasoline prices have come per gallon way down. When that happens, everything else comes down.
Also pointing to stock market record highs, though markets plunged Tuesday amid the trade tensions. While in Davos, President Trump is also set to join a signing ceremony for his Board of Peace to oversee the reconstruction of Gaza. Overnight, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed he's among the world leaders joining the board, while allies voiced concerns the board's expanding mission beyond Gaza could rival the United Nations. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Now, coming up after the break, we are raising readers today here on Local 4. We're going to check in with Priya Mann, who is at our Go For It event out at the Southfield Public Library. We'll have more about our effort to help you reach out and read when Local 4 Live returns. It's 8:40. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, and yes, indeed, it is time to go for it, as today we are collecting new books for kids all the way up to age 5 with our Raising Readers campaign. Now, Local 4 is teaming up with Reach Out and Read Michigan. And right now, until 6 p.m., we are going to be at the Southfield Library that's out there near 10 Mile and Evergreen, which is where Priya Mann is right now. She's at the Southfield Library all morning long with another program specialist helping people get these kids all the books.
Yeah,
that they
Jay,
need.
we are trying to get people to read. We're getting them books. We're talking from birth to 5 years old, and this is collecting new books for these kids. I'm joined by Tracy, who's with Reach Out and Read Michigan. And Tracy, this is an exciting event. We've got some great numbers. How much are we raising so far?
We are so excited. We've raised almost $1,500.
Woo! Yeah, guys, isn't that amazing? Yeah. Okay, so to put it into perspective, how many books would that be?
That would be over 500 books.
500 books, and that's going to help kids across Metro Detroit and Michigan. I know you guys help more than 100,000 children. Mm-hmm. Where do you kids kind of get in contact and families get in contact with your program and all of these books?
Absolutely. So through their doctor's offices, through the clinics. Our program is run through a doctor's office. But what's exciting to know about our program is it's not just a book distribution program. The real goal of the program is to provide that guidance, that reading guidance for those families, to strengthen those families and to send the kids home with a brand new book.
And this is also a pivotal time in a child's life from birth to 5 years old.
Absolutely. Most kids, the brain develops 80% by the time they're 3. It is so vital. And so we really focus on providing this program starting at birth.
And you were talking about some interesting stats when you compare kids who are part of the program versus kids who aren't. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. The kids that are in a clinic that provides the Reach Out and Read program are 3 to 6 months further advanced in their literacy skills than the kids that maybe attend a clinic that is not a Reach Out and Read clinic.
And this is setting your kids up for success, and for some families, this might be access is so important, right?
Definitely access. Some families are just strapped and they're doing the best they can, and buying a book may not be a top priority. So this way they get to learn that it's important to read to their kid when they're at the doctor, and they get a new book to do it with.
And we know that times are difficult, and so sometimes those dollars are stretched thin, but that's why programs like this are essential. 500 books. That's pretty exciting.
We're pretty excited. It's going to be a great day. We're so excited.
And that is all thanks to you guys. And we're going to be at Southfield Public Library through 6 p.m. tonight. If you can't make it out, we know it's snowing out there. You can also scan that QR code. That will take you right to the website where you can choose some pre-selected books, or you can give a monetary donation, which a lot of folks are doing, huh?
Yes, they are. We're so grateful.
We really are. And again, Local 4 teaming up with Reach Out and Read Michigan. We'd love to see you out here at the Southfield Public Library. And just real quick, if you look outside, they're shoveling right now. They're making it as easy as possible. All you got to do is drive up. We'll come outside, come to your car, pick up those books. And we've already had some great donations so far. Our goal is to fill all those boxes right there. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right, Jay, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you so much, Priya. Again, that's going on all day until 6 p.m. at the Southfield Public Library. And getting out there to Southfield or anywhere else across the area has been an absolute adventure. The dog days of winter are here. We had bitter cold the previous 3 days. We've got the snow down, and guess what? It's going to be even colder on the other side of all of this, just in time for the weekend. Ashley Barrissey will have the details when Local 4 Live returns. It's 8:45. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, and here's a live look at Lake Huron from Mackinac Island. You know that area where Lake Huron and Lake Michigan kind of run into each other right along the Mackinac Bridge? It's currently 14 degrees. It feels like 6 degrees above zero, and the Coast Guard has closed the waterway so the ice bridge can form between the island as well as St. Ignace. And the closure is going to keep vessels out of the area so the ice bridge can form. Right now, small planes are the only way on and off the island, and anybody using a snowmobile on the ice bridge must steer clear of the shipping lanes. It's a whole different world up there out near the UP. Here's forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to have at least an ice bridge right now, but probably by the weekend it will feel like there's an ice bridge everywhere.
Yeah, we're going to feel like we're Elsa living in the ice castle with the Frozen movies.
I'm thinking of the Polar Express, the train that comes through too.
That's true. Yes, yeah, and hopefully we don't have what are all the animals? I just blanked out. Like when they block the train tracks.
Then they do. Yeah.
Caribou.
The caribou.
Yeah, caribou crossing. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the weather because, yeah, I will feel like we have just iced things over, not necessarily with actual ice, but with the temperatures by the time we get to the later part of the week. But right now we're dealing with accumulating snowfall, and that has led to some slick roads and reduced visibility. So here we go, looking at satellite radar, warm front bringing us actually some milder air today. So at least I would say the kids after school could get some sledding in before the brutal cold arrives, and that trailing cold front will bring the cooler conditions starting tomorrow, but really the nosedive in temps will be Friday through the weekend. Exact Track 4D, it seems like that snow just hasn't budged. We saw the more regional view of that and how it is pushing to the east-northeast, but it's just such a widespread snowfall that here we are still blanketed in this stuff. Road conditions are snowy from I-69 south, and so some of the roads have been treated, maybe not as bad, but the surface streets that have not, I mean, it's going to be very slick out there because it only takes a little bit of accumulation at the surface to create those slick conditions, and then we're also dealing with the reduced visibility. So winter weather advisory for all of southeastern Michigan until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And it'll be right around that time that we start to see that snow tapering off and becoming much more scattered into the afternoon hours. Temperatures sit on either side of 20. We'll take it. We will be near average this afternoon, but what we still are contending with is a wind chill factor. I mean, we have some stronger wind gusts out there. Some of the sustained winds are even in the 20-mile-per-hour range. So a lot of single-digit wind chills with low double digits on the far east side. So that's what it feels like as you step outside. Let's map this out for you. So I would say by 2, 3 o'clock, now we're looking at a lot of that off to the east with just a few little remnant snowflakes lingering. And then once we get into the overnight early tomorrow, some scattered snow redevelops and we'll have some of those lake effect snow bands. And that'll bring some isolated minor accumulation come Thursday with, I would say, some drier conditions building in Friday. But Friday brings the distinctly colder air mass. So 1 to 3 inches of accumulation still on tap for today. I would say the greater amounts, the higher levels of that snowfall will be between I-94 and I-69, where we get closer to the 3-inch mark. The outlying suburbs probably anywhere from about 1 to 2 inches. Tracking the cold, though, so the cold has been pretty much up to the north, and it starts to sink a little farther south tomorrow. But watch what happens. That blue you see there, that's that Arctic air that sharply dives south into Texas, the Gulf states by Friday. And what that will result in is some wintry precipitation down there. So for today, we're on the colder sector of this system, bringing us snow. That system pushes east tomorrow, kind of a quieter Thursday. But by Friday, now we have some wintry weather down south, and I anticipate that'll create some travel concerns for people either, by car or by air. 7-day forecast, well, this is a doozy. We have these actual air temperatures falling below zero Friday night to Saturday morning, again Saturday night into Sunday morning. Single-digit highs come Friday and Saturday. And even with that very low single-digit low come Friday morning, we'll still likely have wind chill readings about 10 below zero, but we could see some 20 below zero readings heading into the weekend.
It's astonishing just to kind of see that in front of you. And also mentioning people down, I've got family in Atlanta, and I know what happens down there. The second it snows, it can cause some real problems for people once you get south of the Mason-Dixon and this gets in there.
They're just not equipped for it because they just don't have that kind of weather frequently enough to have all of the equipment to take care of it. So, yeah, you know how that goes down there.
And absolutely. Thank you so much, Ashley. And now there are going to be a whole lot of Michigan athletes representing the best America has to offer in just a couple of weeks at the Winter Olympic Games. And coming up, we'll hear from the moment that one woman from Grosse Pointe Farms learned she would be on Team USA and headed out to Milan. We'll be back with Local 4 Live. And we are indeed counting down to the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. You're looking live right there at Milan. And there's no shortage of local talent getting ready to represent Team USA out there in Milan. And that includes Emily Zingis from Grosse Pointe Farms. The 23-year-old ice dancer trains with her partner in Novi. And we've been following their journey along the way. Check this out.
Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da.
Good morning.
Come sit down. So we wanted to bring you in today, not to just deliver you a message like via email or text message, but you guys have qualified for the 2026 Olympic team.
She's worked so hard, and it's been, a journey, and it's not just happens overnight. So I really respect her, I admire her, and just so proud of the woman she's become.
So her mom there by the boards, Igor Spielman, longtime coach, has coached Nadim since he was 15 years old.
I saw my mom on the NBC broadcast next to the TV, hugging my entire family, and it was just, I just lost it. I started crying. My sisters have actually been one of my biggest inspirations in all of my life. I've literally wanted to copy everything that they've done since I was 4 years old. But there's never been a day that they didn't support me and they didn't, uplift me.
When do we start packing for Milan? The day before?
I'm thinking about my outfits now. Yeah, we're gonna have to put them on a budget. They are all shopaholics, and I'm normally one of the worst, but my sisters, I'm afraid for their bank accounts when we get to Milan. I think they've all sacrificed a lot for me to be here, especially my parents, and, it's not an easy road, and they've seen me struggle, and they've seen the hardest times in my life, and I'm very close with my family. I'm very open with them, so they know most of the things that, have been the hardest for me. To be honest, I thought Igor was a little bit crazy. It got better by the end of the session, you should.
He might be.
Yeah, and he just saw me skate one time, and he said, I think you should do ice dance with, I have a partner for you to do ice dance. I was like, you must be crazy.
For her to make the Olympic team and to do well in nationals, and it's a culmination of just years from the time she could walk to now.
Now remember, our tile steel is going to be out there in Milan to cover the games, and we're going to be keeping track of the athletes with the ties to Metro Detroit, of course, as well as giving you a look at Italian culture, as well as behind-the-scenes Olympic coverage. So look for those live updates, starting with the opening ceremony that you will see on February 6th on Local 4. Now we got another hour of Local 4 Live coming up in just a couple of minutes, and Ashley Barrissey is back to give us a look at what you see right there, how long that snow is going to be sticking around, plus a new study from Mott Children's Hospital about how parents feel about their kids swearing. My mother was not a fan of that at all. All of that is coming up at the top of the hour here on Local 4 Live.
Local 4 News starts now with a forewarned weather alert.
9 a.m. here on Local 4 Live, and you are looking live at road conditions out there, and it has been like that pretty much since this snow started around 4 a.m. Conditions are pretty ugly right now. We are in a forewarned weather alert for this Wednesday morning. The snow has made everybody's drive an absolute mess. Ashley Barrissey is going to let us know when all of this is going to start to wrap up. Meanwhile, out there on the highways, here's a live look at I-696 in Southfield. It's down there. You got to look for it, but it's down there. The traffic moving a little snow. The snow definitely all over the lanes. Please be careful because there are plenty of slick spots all over the roads this morning. Let's head out to Metro Airport along I-94. You can barely see the airport or the freeway or anything else in front of you. But aside from that, the weather isn't causing too much trouble right now at Metro. 14 flights have been currently delayed. Thanks for joining us today for Local 4 Live. I'm Jay Scott Smith. Good Wednesday morning. And let's welcome in forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey. Ash, just how much longer is the snow going to last, and how much can we expect to see once all of this is done?
Well, I think once all is said and done, probably a lot of folks in the range of 1 to 3 inches. There could be some, lesser amounts close to the state line and a few pockets that could exceed 3 inches. But as far as when is this going to move out, I mean, we haven't seen any fluctuation with the conditions in quite some time. It's been a blanket. It's very slow moving and it's very widespread. So I would say probably not even until we get closer to the lunch hour. This will persist through the morning. Hard to see the terminal over at Metro Airport. We're sitting on either side of 20 with temperatures across the area. These are air temps, not factoring in the winds, but 20 at Metro Airport, 18 in Pontiac, 23 in Grosse Ile, and 21 in Port Huron. But those sustained winds out of the south are helping get us to more milder seasonal conditions today, but they're strong. Sustained winds 10 to 25 miles per hour, gusting upward of that, and that does bring us wind chill readings in the single digits. Here's Exact Track 4D, another sweep of radar where it just looks like we've taken blue and painted all of southeastern Michigan with it. A little bit more intense snow rate right now off towards Howell along I-96, but the rest of this a very steady light snowfall that does reduce visibility. Winter weather advisory until 1 o'clock this afternoon. So that's very much in line with when we expect the snow to begin to taper off. We still could have a few scattered flurries into the afternoon, but overall cloudy. 33 for the afternoon high, right on par with where we should be at this point in January. But snow throughout the morning, those cooler wind chill readings, an overall 1 to 3 inch accumulation total that we're expecting. Wind chill readings take a nosedive this weekend, near 20 degrees below zero, and actual air temperatures could be the coldest we have felt in 7 years. We'll have more on that coming up in your full forecast.
Thank you so much, Ash. And let's get back out on those roads. And Shantae Passmore has been on those roads all morning long, checking out everything that's happened out there. Shantae, where are you right now, and how is it looking?
Hey everyone, so I think we're starting to see what we've been seeing. I should clarify what Ashley was talking about. I'd say right now we're in downtown Detroit, and we're probably seeing the heaviest snowfall and the worst visibility throughout doing all of the live drives this morning. I know where I am intellectually, but it's like the visibility is so low you can barely make out the cityscape. So yes, of course, we are seeing that snow sticking here to the streets, to the surfaces. Not everywhere is snow-covered lanes. Here by Campus Marshes, that is what you're seeing, but in other areas where you're seeing a mixture of some snowpack and some blacktop, you're really seeing the slush. I think that's another part of the headline here, especially when you're coming to a complete stop or, the car in front of you kicking up the back tire, the snow onto your windshield. That's what we're seeing. Definitely needing your windshield wiper fluid this morning. You got to double check before you head out the door. But right now, this is what it looks like out there on your screen. Slick spots. Definitely be careful. Again, reduce visibility. Be careful if you have to be out and about throughout today. Sending things back over to you, Jay.
Thank you so much, Shantae. We're also going to get a live look at the traffic maps. As you've seen just from Shantae being in downtown Detroit, it is messy out there. Lots of yellow and red. You see a couple of stretches there, 65 minutes, 45 in some spots, 20 in others. Got to be careful on those roads because there are plenty of slick spots. Basically, if you don't need to be someplace, stay off the road. It's going to be kind of a messy Wednesday morning. Our live radar, by the way, is on our Local 4 app, which is very useful on a day like this. And of course, you can also get those alerts when the winter weather advisory hits, and so many things happening as well. Make sure you download the app to get that accurate forecast wherever you are around the metro area. Now let's get to your headlines on this Wednesday morning. And a woman who has been charged with crashing into an Ulta Beauty in Royal Oak has pleaded guilty to operating while intoxicated, fleeing, and assaulting a police officer. You see her right here, 26-year-old Katrina Patterson. She's from Canton, and she was caught on dash cam video crashing into the Ulta Beauty store at 11 in Woodward just a couple of months ago. Let's take a look. That was from November 9th, and investigators say Patterson was found behind the wheel with flat tires as well as an open container of alcohol in her car. She ran from police before, as you see there, smashing into the Ulta Beauty store. Patterson's expected to be sentenced coming up in March. Meanwhile, let's get to the rest of your headlines for today. And police in Warren are trying to figure out how a 3-year-old got a hold of a gun and accidentally shot themselves. It happened at an apartment complex. This one here on 10 Mile and Hoover. Thankfully, the toddler is expected to be okay, and we'll have more details when we learn new information on Local 4 as well as on clickondetroit.com. And day 2 of jury selection has begun in the trial of the man who's been accused of killing a Detroit neurosurgeon. Desmond Burks has been charged with killing Dr. Devin Hoover back in April of 2023. Now, they say he was motivated by jealousy over their relationship as well as the doctor's money. On Tuesday, the judge warned over 100 potential jurors to not discuss this case or follow media coverage. 2 potential jurors were dismissed. One was a police officer. The other was talking about being picked for a high-profile case. And we're also waiting on a judge to decide if 4 people are going to stand trial in the deadly hyperbaric chamber explosion at a Troy clinic. The CEO and 3 employees were charged with 5-year-old Thomas Cooper's death nearly 1 year ago on January 31st, 2025. Now, during preliminary hearings, prosecutors argue the team ignored safety rules and let flammable materials inside of the chamber, along with skipped safety checks, and they didn't require grounding straps.
So we know that back then Ms. Peterson knew what the rules were, and at least then she was following them. But at some point, Judge, it sounds like in around 2017, Ms. Peterson decided she did not want to follow those rules anymore.
The judge is now going to review evidence and testimony to decide if the case will move to a higher court for trial. And one of those defendants is CEO Tamala Patterson, and she's also been charged with healthcare fraud. She's accused of benefiting from false claims at the Oxford Center locations in Troy and Brighton and billed for services that did not happen. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel says this investigation started back in 2022. And it is time to go forward on this Wednesday, and we are collecting new books for kids all the way up to the age of 5 as part of our Raising Readers campaign. We're teaming up with Reach Out and Read Michigan, and until 6 p.m. tonight, we're going to be out there at the Southfield Library on 10 Mile and Evergreen. Priya Mann's been there all morning long, and she joins us live right now with more on how everybody is going for it and helping raise some new readers. What's going on, Priya?
That's what we're doing. We're raising some donations. We're getting books in. We're raising money here to make sure that our youngest kids are going to be reading. And I'm actually joined by Dr. Eric McGraw. He's a doctor. And you have seen firsthand the difference books like this can make.
Yeah, even yesterday in the clinic, I had a 4-year-old who came in for a vision check and her annual exam.
Okay.
And
How'd she do?
She didn't do well because she got her shapes confused on her vision screen. So we ended up using one of the shapes books like we have here. And I was able to go through it with her. And our plan is to let her sort of study it, and then 3 to 6 months, we're going to have her come back. We'll do her vision screen again, and hopefully by then she'll have her shapes committed to memory, and she'll be able to do the vision screen normally.
And shapes can be hard. That can be a challenge. What's the difference you see with programs like this when you're in the clinic?
We are able to, have the book. We hand the new book to the child, and basically we get to walk them through it and show them pages, and if they're at the right developmental stage, we let them show us the book, see how their development is going, turn the pages, show us pictures, ask them to point to like brown or look at a color, look at a shape, and that's how we use those books to kind of analyze their development too.
And it must be so exciting for them when they get this new book, right?
Yeah, they seem really happy. A lot of them, we've done surveys in our clinic, and sometimes this is sometimes the only books that they really have at home. And our clinic is in Midtown Detroit, and some of the kids don't have a lot. So these new books, we think, help them have a library to start with, so that hopefully on each well visit when they come, by the time they get to be 5, they have a pretty good library to start with, and then they go to school. And, the school kind of takes it from there.
And we want this little girl to know her shape, so she's going to be coming back in for a test, right? Maybe in the spring?
Yeah, in the spring, sometime in like 3 to 6 months or so, we'll repeat that, and hopefully she'll have everything figured out by then.
You know, for folks who are watching, maybe they have, you know, some access to some funds where they can buy a new book or maybe donate some monetary funds. What do you want them to know about the difference their donation will make?
It makes a big difference. I've been taking care of our program as a coordinator for about 5 years, and the price of these books, especially the board books, has gone up. Yeah. So any help trying to support our program would really help just get more books into kids' hands.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And you know, the doctor's here, we're here. Reach Out and Read is here today at the Southfield Library. We're here through 6 p.m. And you know, we know the weather's kind of yucky out there, right? It's not the greatest weather to drive in. So you can just scan that QR code that will take you right to the website. And from there, you can either pick a book that's already been recommended, or you can leave a monetary donation. Tracy, how much have we raised so far? $1,500, and that will buy more than 500 books, helping out in clinics right across Metro Detroit. So hopefully, Jay, even if you can't make it out here today, you can donate a little bit, and we can help some kids learn their shapes and get them ready and prepared to have success in school.
One way or another, we're going to help out as many readers as possible. Thank you so much, Priya. And remember, you can donate monetarily, too, if you're not able to get out there because of all this snow. Now, coming up, unfortunately, if you were learning how to read, some of you might have learned some other words, unfortunately. How many of you were raised being told not to swear? Well, we're taking the University of Michigan, where a new poll finds that parents may be changing their tune when it comes to the curse words. That's ahead when Local 4 Live returns. And welcome back to Local 4 Live here on this Wednesday morning. And you are looking live in Ann Arbor at a very snowy University of Michigan campus. And a new poll from U of M Health's Mott Children's Hospital finds that parents may be more relaxed when it comes to letting their kids use curse words. Certainly wasn't like that when I was growing up. Now let's take a look at the numbers. About only half of parents say kids should never swear. More than a third say it depends on the situation. 2 in 3 parents say that children learn swear words from friends or classmates. I might have learned a few playing baseball. Now, most parents say that they feel personally responsible for their child's word choices. So to talk more about these results, we are joined live by Sarah Clark, the co-director of the national poll at U of M Health's Charles S. Mott Children's Hospital. Good morning.
Good morning. And I'm from the wash your mouth out with soap era, and it's really changed over the years.
It has changed a ton. I just think about as I grew up in the 80s, and even then we had to be very careful about what we were saying back then. So it's just like we look at some of the things that come from this poll, and even going through some of those numbers, one of the more interesting things has been the change in attitudes towards kids swearing, where only half of parents think that. Now, where has some of that come from? What has changed that over the last maybe 20, 25 years or so?
So you mentioned that parents report that their kids learn swear words from friends and classmates. But number 2, right behind that, was from the media. So if you think about movies and TV shows and music that we hear kind of all around us, the norms really have changed. They've become more relaxed. So kids are hearing in the background, they're hearing swear words earlier and more often than they used to 10 or 15 or 20 years ago.
And one thing I also noticed here is that it even says that a lot of it is heard at home. Now, we think about it when we were kids. Currently, we would hear parents slip up and say certain things. My dad might have been a little bit blue around the house at times himself, which partly might be where I got some of it from. But that does seem to be a bit of an influence, too, as, again, it's not just friends and family. It seems like a lot of it could be happening, even like the calls coming from inside the house is the best way to describe it.
Absolutely. Parents acknowledge that they or other family members are often the source of kids learning swear words. And it's the number one way that parents try to limit their kids' exposure to swear words is try to watch their own language. You know, it's January. I remember having a swear jar when I was younger. This is the time where people try to make a resolution to do something different. And maybe there are parents out there that are trying to limit their swearing around their kids this year.
Now, what are some of the other ways that parents have tried, at least from the study, could try to help limit that sort of language when it comes to kids swearing?
Well, one big way is to think about what media kids are exposed to. So there are different movie ratings that we're familiar with, but there are also a number of organizations that offer TV ratings, different shows that kids might watch. That's a big way. Another way is to just ask other people to kind of obey our house rules when you're at our house. So no swearing in front of the kids if that's something that your family has decided to do. But there's one piece that kind of concerns me is 1 in 5 parents said that one of the ways they limit their kids' exposure to swearing is by discouraging them from being friends with another kid who they've heard swear. It seems a little judgmental. Hopefully there's a little more that goes into it. But I hope parents think a little bit more broadly before they write off a kid whose family may just have some different rules around swearing.
And I know often we've heard that if people who swear may have greater vocabularies or it's a sign of intelligence, all these different things. But also you mentioned there it's a behavioral thing. One last thing here, just in terms of trying to curb maybe even our own swearing to be able to help it out, to make it a little bit easier when there are little ones around, because they're definitely sponges when it comes to these words.
You know, it is just get some practice. One of the important things that parents need to make sure their kids understand is even if swearing's okay at home, there are some places where it's not. That may be in school, that may be in church, that may be in court, that may be at your job. So parents need to make sure that kids first understand what are our family rules, but then second, what are the situations where it's not okay, and then help kids practice that. So when they're out in those situations, they are confident that they can get through a shift, get through a church service, get through the school day without swearing and getting themselves in trouble.
Sarah Clark, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this very interesting subject here today here on Local 4. Thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's funny because even at my current age, I still can't swear in front of my mother. Now, we remain in that forewarned weather alert with snow impacting the morning drive as well as just how things are going all day Wednesday. Let's say hello to Mount Clemens, where you can see the snow is still everywhere. Ashley Barris is going to be back to track the snow and then the severely cold air that's on the back end of this whole system. You're watching Local 4 Live on Local 4 Plus. It's 9:20 here on Local 4 Live, and as you see right there, the snow is everywhere. That is a live look at Muskegon, where they're under a winter storm warning. Remember, Muskegon's right up there along Lake Michigan. They got at least 6 inches of snow possible. We don't have that coming our way, Ashley, but it's tough. It's tough in the streets no matter where we are in Michigan right about now.
I think a lot of folks just want to, put the sweatshirt, sweatpants on, not have to go anywhere today.
That would be me.
Right, all of us included. But the reality is, a lot of us do have to travel. I just got an update from my colleague Christina, one of our meteorologists here, and she said that speeds along I-94 about 40 miles per hour, a lot of spin-offs. The roads are just awful, and you experienced that a little while ago coming in from Southfield as well.
Yeah, coming down the Lodge Freeway, people are basically where this was at 6:15 a.m. People are taking their time coming up the roads because I saw a couple of buses fishtail and cars kind of start to get to slipping and rocking around. You have to be very careful out there today.
Very careful. And here we're 3 hours later and we're still getting reports of that. And so this is exactly why we have a forewarned weather alert for today. Accumulating snow, and we're not talking a foot of snow. Usually when you have that much, everything shuts down and you don't have to worry about people on the roads. But it's a day like today, the 1 to 3 inches, that's just enough to create enough issue on the roads because there's still enough traffic and also the reduced visibility. So take it easy out there. Give yourself plenty of time if you do have to travel somewhere. Now we're in the aftermath of this warm front that'll get us back into the 30s, low 30s today, but we do have that cold front that is starting to inch so close to southeast Michigan. So this little warm up that we have is very brief today as we have the tail of 2 fronts. You see this with low pressure systems and that low creating enough instability in the atmosphere. We're pulling that moisture off the lakes, and here we are with snow for today. Exact Track 4D, I could probably show you a screenshot from 4:30 this morning to 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. to 7 and all the way till 9 that looks exactly like this. It's not that the snow has really budged much because it's such a widespread snow that even if it is lifting with that warm front, you just haven't seen much of a break out there. Now you might have the intensity fluctuating a little bit with some banding, but our road conditions are snow covered all across southeast Michigan. And I'm sure the more heavily traveled roads are a little easier to get along, but those side streets are going to be messy, and even the freeways, some of them you're just starting to see the tire tracks and not completely cleared as crews can't necessarily keep up with this until it's done. So winter weather advisory until 1 o'clock this afternoon for all of southeastern Michigan. As we take a look at temperatures, because we don't want to just completely breeze over this, it is warmer out there, folks. I mean, it's not as brutal as what it was. Still cold, but probably I think the best word would be more tolerable. So we are on either side of 20 right now. However, we do still have some single-digit wind chills, but even that is starting to improve a bit with some low double digits out there. Yesterday, we held on to sub-zero wind chills for quite some time. And so here we are about 10 to 20 degrees warmer than where we were at this point yesterday. So clouds and radar showing you that the bulk of that snow will be out of here by mid-afternoon. The intensity of it probably waning around the lunch hour, but mid-afternoon is when we really start to catch that break. And we will have some scattered snow showers going into your Thursday, the very off and on variety that'll bring some minor accumulation. It's just not going to be as much of a persistent widespread event tomorrow is what we have this morning. And then Friday, I think that the snow machine kind of stops for a bit, but then the temperatures take a sharp decline. So we have 1 to 3 inches of accumulation forecasted for today. We could have some areas closer to state line with lesser amounts, and there will even be pockets between I-94 and I-69 that might pick up a little bit more than 3 inches. But overall, I would say we're going to average out in that 1 to 3 inch range. Now, going from the accumulating snow back to the cold, that northern tier of the U.S. has been dealing with the below average conditions, and it starts to sink a little farther south tomorrow. But overall, I would say Thursday, nationally speaking, is somewhat quieter. Friday, though, now that Arctic air takes a big dive farther south, and that's going to bring below freezing temperatures from Texas all the way through the Gulf states, and that will also dictate what kind of precipitation they see. So for today, as far as precip, some rain down there, but we're in the colder sector of the system, so we're getting the snow. Tomorrow is the quieter day. We're pushing that system east, but by Friday, now we're looking at some wintry precip down to the south, some icing, rain-snow mix, and that will be definitely, it'll handcuff folks down there because of the fact that they're just not equipped with treating snow-covered or ice-covered roads. We have single-digit temperatures in our forecast. So as we dive more into that 7-day forecast, I do want to show you Friday could be close to the threshold for school closings because we'll be probably, maybe 10 to 20 degrees below zero with the wind chill Friday morning, definitely closer to that 20 below zero mark by Saturday morning as that actual air temperature dives to 9 below zero. Highs are in the single digits. Like, what are you talking about, Ashley? But this is fact, folks. And I just looked at the records. as far as when the last time we experienced a temperature 8 below or greater, or well, I should say, colder than that. And it was late January 2019. January 30th and the 31st, Jay, we experienced 13 below zero and 14 below zero without a wind chill. So it has been 6 years, nearly 6 years, or 7 years, I'm thinking of 2025, nearly 7 years that we have experienced those type of temperatures.
That is an astonishing number just to kind of see sitting right there. And as an air temperature, we've had wind chills of -9, 10. But
well, exactly.
So I'm just picturing what that's like. So make sure you're covering up everything.
Yeah, and and we've been talking about how you need to cover up everything for the risk of frostbite and hypothermia, but we have to think about the pets too. Really want to stress that one because there are outdoor pets that cannot withstand those type of temperatures. So bring them inside.
Make sure you're taking care of the pups out there as well. Thank you so much, Ashley. Now coming up, the cost of childcare is skyrocketing. We'll let you know how much parents need to make these days just to afford childcare. And we've all gotten these emails. I just got one yesterday telling us that streaming services monthly fees are about to go up. Consumer Reports will tell you how to save that money when Local 4 Live returns at the bottom of the hour. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. And childcare is one of the toughest expenses that families are facing these days. New research from LendingTree shows that parents need to make around $400,000 a year just to easily cover childcare. That's for 2 kids. The average cost for looking after an infant and a 4-year-old, $28,000 a year. Putting that in perspective, the typical American family makes around $145,000 a year on average. And speaking of making money and taking care of bills, if you're like so many of us, you might be overpaying every month for streaming services, cell phone plans, and home internet. I just got one of those emails yesterday about a streaming service going up, and it can all add up. Consumer Reports is going to help you spot the waste, cut down those bills, and turn small changes into some real savings. Here's Rhonda Walker.
Are your streaming, cell phone, and internet bills getting higher? You're not the only one.
They all add up, so definitely very expensive every month.
In the past 3 to 4 months, it has gone up, and we try to keep a budget.
Cable or pay TV alone averages about $125 a month, plus an additional $69 for streaming services, and that doesn't even include music or audiobooks. But Consumer Reports says there are ways to cut your bills.
Calling your cable or streaming provider and asking for a better rate could, in some cases, get you a 10 to 20% discount.
As for streaming services,
one easy way to save is to use multi-service bundles like Apple One. This gives you 6 subscriptions for $38 a month. It's a lot less than the $70 a month you'd pay if you were to sign up for them separately.
some services even let you share your plan with a friend. For example, Netflix's ad-free plan is $18 a month, and you can add someone outside your household for another $9 more. To save money, you can swap your paid streaming services for ad-supported or free services like Pluto TV, Tubi, or Spotify's free tier. Cell phone plans average $140 a month, but CR says there are ways to cut that bill too.
Setting up autopay and paperless billing could save you up to $10 a month on each phone line. And family or shared plans are usually cheaper than paying separately.
And then take a good look at your bills, all your bills, and cancel services that you're not using anymore. And Consumer Reports members can use Bill Negotiator, which works with providers to lower your bills.
Now, that was Local 4's Rhonda Walker. And now it's our third day of a forewarned weather alert as it has just continued to get ugly around here, especially with all the snow that's been happening across the area, particularly over the last few days. And also, by the way, was one other thing. You don't want to overlook bundling your TV and internet and phone service. Often those savings can add up month after month, but just be sure to read the fine print of any contract you're being asked to sign. Now, coming up, a bill to ban cell phones in Michigan classrooms is taking another big step moving forward today in the state Senate. And we're going to be giving you a live look at the road conditions. And as you see right now, it hasn't gotten any better out there. The snow is going to continue. We'll have more coming up on Local 4 Live.
Local 4 News starts now with a forewarned weather alert.
Bottom of the hour here on Local 4 Live, and this is the third day of our forewarned weather alert. Now, today the concern is the snow that's been happening all morning long. It started just before 4 a.m. That's a live look right now in Mount Clement, where drivers everywhere should be definitely taking it slow because there's plenty of slick spots on those roads right now. Let's head over to Metro Airport in Romulus. We're in the middle of a winter weather advisory there. And yes, that is the airport. You might be able to even see a couple of planes taxiing onto the runway. This winter weather advisory is going to last through the afternoon, and it impacts, of course, all of southeast Michigan. Let's go up to Mount Holly, where the conditions, it's a great day to go skiing out there. We're expecting 3 inches of snow when all of this is finished, with the highest amounts being between I-94 and I-96. Let's get a look at the Exact Track 40 radars. You can see where the snow is falling basically everywhere. It's completely engulfed southeast Michigan and really all across Michigan. The story, once this snow moves out, the bitterly cold temperatures, and we're talking about temperatures we haven't seen around here in nearly a decade, dropping to at least 5 to 10 degrees below zero air temperature. Ashley Barrissey will be back to join us with a full forecast coming up a little bit later on in this half hour. But meanwhile, make sure you have our forewarned weather app right now on your phone or on your tablet. It'll send you push alerts when the snow is moving into your area. You can also check the radar at any time, and remember, it is always free to download. And now let's get to our news headlines. We'll head to Switzerland, where right now the president is addressing the World Economic Forum. Let's take a listen in as he is discussing tariffs.
And all hell broke loose. They were calling, I mean, like you wouldn't believe. And I know so many people from Switzerland, incredible place, incredible, brilliant place. But I then realized that they're only good because of us. And there's so many other examples. I mean, us and probably other places, but a majority of the money they make is because of us. Because We never charged them anything. So they come in, they sell their watches, no tariffs, no nothing. They walk away, they make $41 billion on just us. So I said, no, we can't do that. So I'm going to bring it up. I still would have a deficit pretty substantial, but I brought it up to 30%. And I guess Prime Minister, I don't think President, I think Prime Minister called a woman, and she was very repetitive. She said, no, 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 you cannot do that, 30%. You cannot do that. We are a small, small country. I said, yeah, but you have a big, big deficit. You may be small, but you have a bigger deficit than big countries. He said, no, 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 please, you cannot do it. Kept saying the same thing over and over. We are a small country. I said, but you're a big country in terms of, and she just rubbed me the wrong way, I'll be honest with you. And I said, all right, thank you, ma'am, appreciate it. Do not do this. Thank you very much, ma'am. And I made it 39%. And then all hell really broke out. And I was paid visits by everybody. Rolex came to see me. They all came to see me. But I realized, and I reduced it, because I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt them. And we brought it down to a, lower level. Doesn't mean it's not going up, but we brought it down to a lower level. But they pay now, tariff. But I realized that we have many.
That's Donald Trump speaking at Davos, Switzerland. The speech comes amid frustrations between the U.S. and Europe over Greenland. We'll update you on the rest of his speech later today. Meanwhile, Governor Gretchen Whitmer is also out there at the World Economic Forum in Davos. She's going to meet with global leaders as well as investors to take part in panels on electric vehicles and U.S. economic growth, with the goal being to advance manufacturing, defense, and high-tech investments here to the state of Michigan. Switzerland is also Michigan's 9th largest foreign investor, supporting hundreds of jobs across the state. And the Michigan State Senate is expected to discuss a bill to limit cell phones in classrooms. The House passed the bill last week, and it will require K-12 public and charter schools to create policies for phone use in class. Now, students could still use them between classes and lunch, but there would also be exceptions made for medical needs. If the state Senate approved this, the bill would then go to Governor Whitmer for her signature. And we are definitely going forward on this Wednesday. We are collecting new books for kids all the way up to the age of 5 with our Raising Readers campaign. So Local 4 teaming up with Reach Out and Read Michigan. It's happening right now until 6 p.m. and we're going to be out at the Southfield Library on 10 Mile and Evergreen. Priya Mann's been out there all morning long, and there's been a lot of money raised as well for this initiative, Priya.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning, Jay. It has been a fantastic morning here. We are collecting some important books to help kids, and I'm joined with an expert. He knows all about helping young kids read. This is Dr. Eric McGraw. You are looking deep into this book. This is a classic. Do you want to show him?
Yep. This is Goodnight Moon, and I was just going to talk a little bit about how you can use these books. When the kids come in for their well checks, we talk to them and the parents about how to sort of calm their kids down at nighttime and develop a nighttime getting ready for bed kind of routine.
I thought you were going to read it to me right now and calm us down, huh?
Sure. Sure, but one of the things is a lot of parents don't realize that even newborns can be read to.
Yeah.
And so we start our programs with Reach Out and Read. We start them from the very first newborn visit.
Okay.
And we sort of talk about safe sleep, and then we move on to sort of books like this where we can just show them how to kind of calm the kids down for bedtime.
Here, can you flip it for me? Let's work together.
Sure, and it's a good sort of relaxing thing to do. And, maybe give them a bath, calm them down, go through a book, and develop a good nighttime reading kind of relaxation plan for bed.
What is it about that nighttime routine that's so important?
I think just the sort of familiarity with it, doing it regularly, and then it becomes a pattern and the kids get used to it, and they really do like hearing their parents read to them, even at a young age, even newborns, 1, 2, those very young months, it's still a good thing to do.
Because the brain is developing, and this is such a formative time, and that's why these donations are so important, right?
Exactly, and there are some studies that looked at kids on screens, and they don't seem to be as helpful in settling them down before bed. Some of it's the lighting, and some of it is also just like ads popping up and things like that, whereas you don't see ads popping up in little board books and things like
this is why the OG is the way to go, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And this one's like in its 75th anniversary, looks like. So
wow,
it's
before
a great
our
book.
time, but a classic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So it really is you know, a good program that can start right from the newborn visit and all the way up to 5 years old.
And that's why you braved the snow to be out here at the Southfield Public Library today, because we are going to be here through 6 p.m. collecting donations just like this. And look, we know it's snowy out there. If you can't make it out to Southfield Public Library, just scan that QR code. You can give us a monetary donation. We've raised $1,500. That's almost 500 books. Yeah, we can clap for that. How do you feel about that, 500 books?
That's great. That's any bit will help, definitely.
Any bit will help. And hopefully we'll see you out here. Again, we'll be at the Southfield Public Library through 6 p.m. Hopefully we'll see you out here. And maybe after you can read Goodnight Moon, I think the whole group. We could use it.
Sure,
Do we want a group reading?
There we go.
There we go. All right, Doc. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Jay, I'll send it back to you.
$1,500, that's a lot of bits, not a little bit helping. Remember, we're going to be out there all day long at the Southfield Public Library. Now, coming up, data centers are moving into a bunch of communities across Metro Detroit, and that includes out there in Southfield. We're going to take you there live, and a lot of people in that city have concerns, and we're taking a deep dive into the controversy. That's coming up here on Local 4 Live. And welcome back to Local 4 Live here. And we told you really in the last year about the multi-billion-dollar data center that's headed to Saline Township. This is going to be backed by Oracle and OpenAI. Now, they plan to start building it later this year, but a lot of locals have been pushing back. And this is just one of several data centers that's proposed across Southeast Michigan. And people in these communities, they got a lot of questions, a lot of issues, and a lot of worries. And data centers are becoming more and more parts of our everyday lives, and that's why the demand keeps growing. But even though we all rely on them, a lot of people don't want them close to their home. Will Jones is looking into the data center boom and what it could mean for you and your neighborhood.
Across Southeast Michigan, from Saline Township to Allen Park, Southfield, Lyon Township, and Washington Township, communities are weighing data center proposals.
So what's behind this sudden surge? Well, think about it. Every time you stream a video, scroll through social media, shop online, or use your smartphone, you're creating huge amounts of data, and with AI taking off, that data is only growing. All this information needs to be stored somewhere and ready to go instantly. That's where data centers come in. They're the big facilities that keep our digital world running smoothly.
A lot of people are unaware that they've been utilizing data centers all along.
But the digital world and real world are clashing across Metro Detroit. Residents are pushing back against data centers coming to their community. Right now, 61 data centers call Michigan home, according to datacentermap.com. After public outcry, some local officials have hit pause on new projects, Last November, it was Howe Township.
This moratorium is a Band-Aid. It's not going to fix the problem.
This month, the city of Northfield approved a 12-month moratorium on data centers.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? No data centers right here.
My name is Larry.
Larry Papp, a Lyon Township resident, has been part of the resistance to a proposed data center between Milford and Southfield roads. The plan includes 6 buildings totaling about 1.8 million square feet, plus a utility substation.
We are very concerned about the water, the power, and the environment that it's going to create, because it will create a noise 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Michelle Grinnell with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation says data centers are here and they're not going away. Last April, tax exemptions went into effect, cutting taxes on data center construction and equipment purchases.
Our role as the state of Michigan is to just have a business environment that allows those conversations to happen. But this is really going to be driven at the local level.
Amanda Roberts with the Michigan Climate Action Network helped fight against tax breaks for data centers. She worries about the impact they could have on our environment and communities.
What we need to do is make sure that we have regulations to protect our water, to protect our air quality, to protect our climate goals, right, first and foremost. And so I think we need to take those things into consideration and make sure that these are done first as safe as possible if they need to be done, but also that there's buy-in from the community.
Gabriel Wilson, who leads an AI company in Detroit, says data centers may need stronger regulations.
We are embarking upon an era that none of us have experienced before. However, these data centers are necessary. So as long as it's not slowing down innovation.
That was our Will Jones. And Michigan law doesn't let local governments ban data centers completely, but communities can decide where they go or set rules about them. If you want to learn more about how data centers affect our neighborhoods and our jobs, scan that QR code. You see it right there on your screen for more information. Now, we've been under a winter weather advisory all day long, and the snow is everywhere. And once that snow stops, the bitter cold returns, and we're talking sub-zero temperatures rolling in just in time for the weekend. Ashley Barrissey will have the full forecast coming up when Local 4 Live returns. And welcome back to Local 4 Live. And you are looking live at Port Huron. Look at that scene right there near the Blue Water Bridge on this snowy Wednesday. You can see the snow falling and, of course, the ice all across the St. Clair River. It has looked like that just about everywhere today as this snow and cold has rolled in with this winter weather advisory that we're underneath right now. We'll bring in forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey. Ashley, this is what people are going to be experiencing pretty much the rest of the day. And then on the back end of this, it's only going to get colder.
Absolutely. You know, we were having a unique conversation in our editorial meeting here. Like everyone that works a 9-to-5 shift here at Local 4 was talking about how their ride in was incredibly treacherous, and it's still not great out there. And then there are a lot of school districts that are running on a half day today because it's the end of the card marking or the semester. And so that means that kids that are getting out of school midday are still likely going to be dealing with some rough roads for parents picking up or buses that'll be out and about. I want to start with the snowfall total map here because this is radar indicated. This is nothing official, but it gives you a good estimate of where the heavier snow has fallen and kind of what we're looking at so far. And we have picked up about 1 inch in some spots, a little lesser amounts in the outlying suburbs. And I'll tell you what, this is pretty much on pace pace with what we're forecasting in that 1 to 3 inch range, because we're still dealing with widespread snow that'll continue to accumulate over the next couple of hours. But I would say by the time we get to about 1 o'clock this afternoon, we start to see some improvement as this cold front will kind of push some of that snow out of here. But we're in the wake of a warm front, meaning that we'll be milder today. But with that low over Michigan and that cold front, we will have the instability, and we have colder air that works its way in later. So I would say the darker blue that you see there on radar, that's mainly to the northeast of the city. So that does clip from about Mount Clemens up towards Port Huron, north of Waterford too. A little more intense snow band, but pretty much steady light snowfall that has just not let up since it first started early this morning, just before 5 a.m. Road conditions are snowy all across the area, especially if they haven't been treated. So exercise caution as you take to the roads. Winter weather advisory in effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon. That's from the National Weather Service. So temperatures are on either side of 20 as we scour the map. A little milder the farther south that you go. And we have wind chill readings, though, hanging tight in the single digits in just a few spots. But we have started to see some of those wind chill readings, not just in the double digits, but now getting in the teens in Monroe. So that's huge improvement from yesterday. And I mean, we're going to have actual air temperature readings way colder than that by the time we get to the end of the week. So here's a look at the hour by hour, 2, 3 o'clock. All this is out of here, but we will have some scattered development going into the later part of the evening throughout your Thursday, even some scattered off and on snow chances that bring minor accumulation across the area. Bit drier come Friday, but then those temperatures are taking a tumble, and really the headline at that point will be the dangerous cold. So 1 to 3 inches of accumulation in store for today across the area as we top out near average, right around the freezing mark. This is a day where the kids can actually go out and enjoy the snow, do some sledding before the dangerous cold settles in. This is a look at how we're tracking the cold. So today, pretty much stuck in the northern half of the country. Thursday starts to creep a little farther south, but it's Friday. Watch how that blue, that Arctic air mass, digs as far south as the Gulf states and into Texas. And that's going to aid in some wintry precip, given that temperatures will fall below freezing, even that far south. So today we're in the colder sector of the system, bringing snow to the Midwest. Thursday's a bit quieter across the country. But Friday, as I mentioned, with that Arctic air mass building into the south, we will start to see some wintry precipitation building in over portions of Oklahoma, Arkansas, maybe into Texas. And so that'll create some big travel concerns for folks going to the south, whether it's by car or by air. We have single-digit highs Friday, Saturday, sub-zero lows as we go into the weekend, the overnight Friday night, and also Saturday night and Sunday morning. Worth mentioning Friday, I think wind chill readings are about 10 below zero. Probably not quite to the threshold for school closings, but this works out for the weekend that we could have wind chill readings 20 below zero. And we have not felt air temperatures that cold come Saturday morning since 2019, where we had actual readings that were 13 and 14 below zero. So this is going to be the coldest air that we have felt in 7 years. We start to slowly climb out of it, but even still a very below average stretch into next week.
I mean, even climbing out of it, 0 degrees is not fun. 4 degrees is not fun. It is not the type of thing you need to be outside in if you don't have to be.
Absolutely. And for folks that have to be, that work outside, construction crews, I mean, take all the proper precautions to protect your skin and, you know, take breaks from the cold and then bring those pets inside, folks.
It's just like dealing with the heat, basically, in the summertime, even though I would love to be dealing with the heat right now in the summertime, if we're being honest. Coming up after the break here, Tati and Kim from Live in the D join us to let us know what's happening later on today. Plus, here's another look at the winter conditions outside on this forewarned weather alert Wednesday. Be careful on those roads. Local 4 Live wrap things up after the break.
gorgeous, though. I'm not even.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live, and we want to get you one last look outside at the snow that's falling all over the place. You're looking live at I-696 in Southfield. We're keeping an eye on this forewarned weather alert. The snow is expected to start to ease up in the afternoon, but that'll be a little bit later on in the day. We want you to see the conditions outside of your door as well. So all you got to do, grab your phone, snap a picture, record a video, then drop it onto my pics on clickondetroit.com. We want to see how the snow is looking in your neighborhood, and we especially like the really adorable pictures of kids and pups playing in the snow. Now, we got a lot coming up for you here throughout the day on Local 4 Plus and Local 4 as well. Tati and Kim are here from Live in the D to tell us what's happening today. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning to you.
So what are we looking at today on this very snowy Wednesday?
I was going to say, we're looking at a lot of snow. That part, we really are. So this is a perfect opportunity for people to hang out with us, right?
Yes, I mean, let's talk about getting to the gym in this weather.
Yeah.
That's kind of impossible. What if you could
was-
do, oh, did you go to the gym?
Yesterday.
Overachiever.
Yesterday, going in weather like this, it's the walking outside and feeling the cold air hit you. I couldn't imagine trying to go to a gym today.
Yeah, how about a little indoor workout?
Yeah, we've got a solution for you. There's a Detroit man who has come up with an invention for you to get an incredible workout at home. It's friendly for seniors, people who might be in the middle of physical therapy, and just good for everyone. We're even going to try it out.
Can we say what it is? What
Go
it
for
involves?
it.
Jump rope.
Yes.
Real? Oh,
Yeah.
We're gonna get you doing. Are we doing double dutch in here today?
That's what Natalie. We were literally talking about this with our producer, and she was like, "So we need to have two people doing like counting you in." I'm like, "This is not like
it's not double
first
dutch.
grade, like
Right.
double dutch." It's a workout. I'm really excited. We're gonna definitely be doing some jump rope on the show today.
That's right.
Also, I've been thinking about like indoor activities. Like, what are some things to do? Because we've got the snow, but it's going to get to the point where it's too cold to actually play in the snow. What about doing some artwork, clay work?
I love it.
For those of you in Ann Arbor, that's a fun little thing we're going to have on the show today.
Channel your creativity.
Yes.
And this is a really great place that you found.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will be doing that. Have to channel your creativity on days like this. This is coming up on Live in the D at 11 o'clock. Going to have that here on Local 4 Plus and on Local 4. Thank you for joining us today. Of course, keep up with all the weather alerts on Local 4 Plus as well as on the Click on Detroit app and on clickondetroit.com. Have a great Wednesday, everybody, and stay warm out there.